Grab some delicious honey, it's time for our government-mandated biannual Mark Wahlberg action movie. This time it's Infinite, which was supposed to come out theatrically way back in August of 2020 and then again in September of 2021, before being sidelined by Paramount Plus. Everyone has Paramount Plus, right? So in this video we'll be taking a deep dive into the world of Infinite, how the reincarnation process works, and I'll answer if this movie was deserving of a theatrical release. But before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. I'm so close to that 400k goal, and every comment, like, and subscription helps. Infinite begins in Mexico City in the year 1985. Set up by Mark Wahlberg's voiceover, we learn that there are a group of about 500 individuals on Earth who can never die. Well, they can die, but their souls reincarnated into a new individual upon death. These 500 souls are called the Infinite, and within the last 300 years, they've split into two factions. On the one hand are the Believers, who use their power to help and protect humanity. This faction is led by a man named Treadway, who we'll get to in a bit. On the other are the Nihilists, led by Chiwetel Ejiofor's character Bathurst. They see their immortality as a curse, and only by destroying humanity can they be released from this endless prison. After all, if there are no bodies for them to reincarnate into, they can finally be free. But back to Mexico City. Treadway here has infiltrated Bathurst's secret lab and stolen an item known as the Egg, a device which unspools the very fabric of DNA, killing all those around it. It's a device that would completely destroy humanity and the world. He'll end up fighting the 1985 version of Bathurst, eventually killed in the process, but the big mystery is, where did the egg go? That's what the 2020 version of Bathurst has spent the last 35 or so years looking for. The scientist who made the egg was killed, so a new one couldn't be made, so the only other option is for him to track down the newly reincarnated version of Treadway and find out where he put it. The film is really a 2-hour-long Easter egg hunt. The problem is the man who has been imbued or reincarnated with Treadway's soul doesn't know he has it. At a young age, his visions were misdiagnosed as schizophrenia and he was put on medication. He even tried committing suicide via car crash, which resulted in him getting a steel plate inserted into his head, a plot point which becomes pivotal later on in the film. To pay for his medication, Evan, played here by Mark Wahlberg, who has the soul of Treadway in him, makes samurai swords for local drug dealers, you know, normal things. He doesn't quite know how he has this ability, he just knows how to do it because he was once a Japanese blacksmith in a previous life. He even retains all his knowledge from those past lives, making him a walking Wikipedia.
Homeboy knows everything. You a freak.
But when the drug deal goes wrong and Evan finds himself running from the cops, he's brought into police custody where Bathurst and the Nihilists have tracked him down. Apparently both the Nihilists and Believers have an entire network that's been searching for him, and when a samurai sword forged in a style unseen since Edo, Japan popped up on their radars, they knew they had a potential match. The only problem is, Evan has no idea about his past, even when a gun is pulled on him. Notice Treadway's ring here, which is the same ring his past life self wore in the 1985 intro segment. It's only when Evan touches a slingshot from one of his past lives that he gets a quick flashback of him as a Mayan or Aztec warrior. The interrogation is cut short when Nora Brightman, one of the leaders of the Believers, crashes the party, quite literally, and escapes with Evan. He decides to join her, thinking that this whole event is one psychotic episode.
None of this is real. It's a psychotic break.
Is that easier to believe than the idea that maybe Destiny has something more in store for you?
Fun Easter egg here are the license plates. This one here says Reincarnate, and the one from 1985 says Infinite. Unsuccessful in his attempt at acquiring the egg, we see Bathurst being waterboarded. This is never explained why someone would want to do this on purpose, but the fact he says, "God, show me your face," leads me to believe he wants to bring himself closer to death in order to get closer to God. Near the end of the film, when he finally does acquire the egg, he wonders out loud if God will stop him. After all, he's about to destroy the entire planet. Unlike the other Infinite, who develop their memories of their previous lives as they grow older and over time, Bathurst gets them all at once as soon as he's developing in the womb. He says the flood of these memories at once eat away at him and it's unbearable. No wonder he wants to stop it. Evan is taken to the Hub, the main base of the Believers, where they attempt to bring his memories back. Now you may think there would be tons of these Infinites around, but there aren't. Treadway has created a gun-like device called the Dethroner Dethroner, which stores the soul of its victims, restricting them from entering a new host. Essentially, he's created a gun that can lock an Infinite in a pseudo-cyber prison. Over 200 believers are locked away in there. This is the same gun we see him use in the intro against a man named Abel, Nora's partner for hundreds of years. She tells him to meet her in the beginning, which is their code word for Angkor Wat. But with Abel's soul imprisoned, Nora is left to live out the rest of eternity without her partner. The meeting at the hub also sets up two important threads. One, that Treadway had abnormal powers that no one could understand.
He can manipulate the energy of the world around him.
This is what Evan will later use to stand upright on the plane in the final act, but other than this, there's no explanation as to why Treadway has this power or where it came from. Second, the believers keep the bodies of their previous hosts, and we'll soon find out what the real reason for this is. Hint, it's not to keep as souvenirs. The believers are unable to unlock Evan's memories and must venture to London to meet a man known as the Artisan, who might be able to help, but in order to get them unlocked, Evan's brain will need to be jump-started, which can only be done via drowning and bringing him back to life. It's only when his life literally flashes before his eyes that he realizes Treadway buried the egg inside his own body, and conveniently that body is still stored at the hub, but Bathurst has already seized control and taken the body with the egg in it to Scotland. Now, it's never explained why he just doesn't start the device right here and now, probably because if he did, there wouldn't be a third act. So Evan and Nora go after Bathurst, with Evan making an insane motorcycle leap off a cliff onto the plane, whereby the motorcycle falls into the engine, really just screwing up Bathurst's plans. And as Evan is about to destroy the egg, which has been put in this creepy box thing for some reason, he's shot with the Dethroner by Bathurst. But remember how Evan had that steel plate in his head? The bullet hits and doesn't work, which results in this insane samurai skydiving battle where Evan stops the bomb and successfully imprisons Bathurst using his own gun. Meanwhile, the Artisan and Nora blow up the imprisoned souls along with a gravely wounded Nora. She fought one of the Bathurst minions and was injured. This explosion will allow those souls to be released. The last we see of Evan is him falling into the ocean from the plane. We aren't sure what happens to him until the final scene. We're in Jakarta, Indonesia, roughly 15 years later. The Artisan has tracked down a young boy with an amazing proficiency for sword fighting. He believes him to be the reincarnation of Treadway, which would mean Evan died, and this is confirmed when the boy says,
Took you so long. See you soon, Treadway!
But the more heartwarming ending is Nora finally reuniting with her love. With both her soul and her partners released by the explosion in Scotland, we see two young people holding hands at Angkor Wat, or what Abel and Nora called the beginning. Ironic since this is the end of the movie. Now, if you want my personal opinion of the movie, it was a total 5 out of 10 action flick that brought nothing new to the genre. It felt like a hodgepodge of other movies pasted together with no real intriguing character to root for. So unless you have a Paramount Plus account, I'd say this movie is a pass. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Every little bit helps the channel out. For more bad takes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.